Mass Effect Andromeda review scores: BioWare's worst rebounds per game yet on PS4 and Xbox One. Mass Effect Andromeda review scores are in, and it's a mixed bag for BioWare's space-based role-playing game on PS4 and Xbox One. The Mass Effect Andromeda review embargo has finally dropped, as critics gave their verdict on the PS4, Xbox One and PC action role-playing game. Unfortunately, however, it's not all good news, as the early reviews are most certainly mixed. The writing appears to be the main point of contention, while a lack of memorable characters, especially compared to the original trilogy, hasn't gone down well. Mass Effect Andromeda reviewers have also criticized the bugs and glitches, although praise has been reserved for the size and scope of the game, not to mention the combat and visuals. Ahead of the March 23 UK release date, although it's out now on EA Access, here is a selection of Mass Effect Andromeda review scores. IGN 7/7. Mass Effect Andromeda is an expansive action role-playing game with a few great moments that recapture the high points of the landmark trilogy that came before it, and energetic combat and fantastic sound effects contribute to a potent sci-fi atmosphere. Without consistently strong writing or a breakout star in its cast to carry it through the long hours and empty spaces, however, disappointments like a lack of new races, no companion customization, and major performance problems and bugs take their toll. GameSpot 6/10. In many ways, Andromeda feels like a vision half fulfilled. It contains a dizzying amount of content, but the quality fluctuates wildly. Its worlds and combat shine, but its writing and missions falter, and the relative strength of the former is not enough to compensate for the inescapable weakness of the latter. As a Mass Effect game, Andromeda falls well short of the nuanced politics, morality, and storytelling of its predecessors. For me, the series has always been about compelling characters and harrowing choices, so to find such weak writing here is bitterly disappointing. Yet even after 65 hours, I still plan on completing a few more quests. The game can't escape its shortcomings, but patient explorers can still find a few stars shining in the darkness. Polygon 7/5. After a number of complaints, it might seem odd to end on such a positive note. Let us be clear, I am conflicted about Mass Effect Andromeda. There is a lot of roughness throughout the game, and the technical issues, while not game-breaking, are often incredibly distracting. But it is my time with the cast that I am still thinking about, and the mysteries about the world that haven't been answered that make me feel like I am waiting once again for a new Mass Effect game. And if I am judging a game by where it leaves me, Andromeda succeeds, even if it stumbled getting there. Games radar 3.55, with a little more focus, Andromeda could have been a great game. The premise of exploring a new frontier in space is exciting and original, and the cast of characters inhabiting this new world, be they the fresh races, or the people you've dragged with you from the Milky Way, are more interesting than not. Some of the worlds have a real beauty, and the main narrative itself is compelling enough to carry you happily to the end. But there is too much quest padding, too much technical jargon, too much fighting for a game with a poor fighting system, too many clever little animations and quest steps in between the stuff that is actually fun to do. Place the resulting experience next to infinitely more finessed open-world games like The Witcher 3, Horizon Zero Dawn, or even the original trilogy, and Andromeda compares very poorly indeed. Not a disaster, but definitely not the fresh start the series needed, or the one fans have been waiting patiently for. Forbes 8/5. I have a feeling that Mass Effect fans will enjoy the game, but I don't think anyone will claim it outclasses the original trilogy, outside of maybe the very first game. If you could combine the story and memorable quests of the originals with the combat, visuals and scope of Andromeda, you would have the perfect video game, though I think what's offered here will satisfy most. Despite its issues, Andromeda is welcome return to one of my favorite fictional universes, and I am still not ready to let Mass Effect go. I'm not sure I ever will be. CG Magazine, 7/10. At times, Mass Effect Andromeda can feel like an expansion and not a true follow-up. A lot of strides have been made to improve the already dazzling combat system, which is leaps and bounds more exciting than your average cover shooter, but so much of it feels like a regression. That slip still puts it a cut above a lot of others in the same space, but the failure to iterate after the divisive conclusion of the original trilogy isn't going to do BioWare any favors. They're still putting out some flashes of brilliance, but they really need an internal wake-up call and a sincere heart-to-heart with EA on their love of mandatory microtransactions as they reassess their priorities going forward. Kotaku, no score, Mass Effect Andromeda ultimately trades polish for ambition. It's a big game crammed with data, lore and conversation that invites exploration, even though many of the features could do with some fine-tuning, or an overhaul. At its core, it gets that Mass Effect feeling right, weaving a compelling storyline around humanity's place in the universe, then giving you the perfect ship full of misfits to take you through it. Eurogamer, no score, the combat crackles and the worlds are lush, but mediocre writing and tepid quests add up to what is probably BioWare's worst rebounds per game yet. It's gripping stuff, and a reminder of the greatness of the Mass Effect trilogy, its intelligent reworkings of pulp sci-fi cliché, the taut splendor of its scenarios and aesthetic, the color and dexterity of its writing. All that's still in here somewhere, I think. But then you pop out the other end of the mission, back into Andromeda's labyrinth of drudgery and obfuscation, and remember that you're a long way from home.